All right, this is Pre-Calculus B, Unit 1, Introduction to Trigonometry, Lesson 6, Trigonometric Functions and Quadrants 1 through 4. All right, so what our objective here is to be able to evaluate trig functions for any angle that is coterminal in any of the 4 quadrants or on the boundaries between the quadrants. So we're just going to do a bunch of examples and work out some of the trig functions. So I've got the unit circled on here. Let's go ahead and mark some of the common angles. So this is hopefully review, something that we've already done. The starting angle is 0 radians. I'm just going to do radians. You can do corresponding degree measure as well. But well, actually, let's go ahead and do degrees. 0 degrees and 360 degrees is a full circle. 180 degrees is halfway around. 90 degrees is a quarter of the way around. 270, 3/4 of the way around. Half of 90, 45. 90 and 45, 135. 135, 180 and 45 is 225. And 360 less 45 is 315. Okay, and we count off by 30s, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270, 300, and 330. Okay, so those are the common angles in degrees. Let's go ahead and put in the radian measures here. Radian measures. And actually I'm going to combine, merge, and move this layer here a little bit, so we have some play room here. Okay. All right, now let's put in the radian measures. So again, 0 radians or 2 pi radians, pi radians, pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4, 7 pi over 4, 8 pi over 4 is 2 pi. And then count off by pi over 6. Pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, which is pi over 3, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, which is 2 pi over 3, 5 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, 8 pi over 6, which is 4 pi over 3. Okay, now what are we up to? 6 pi over 7, 8, 9, lost count. 10 pi over 6, which is 5 pi over 3, and 11 pi over 6. So these are all the positives. Of course, negatives go clockwise around, positives go counterclockwise around. You should be able to, at the drop of a hat, be able to reproduce this diagram. So I recommend doing it, drawing it by hand a couple times, several times, just to get familiar with these angles, okay? Because you want to be able to pick out the angles and the reference angles. All right, so let's do some trig functions here, and I'm going to pull up yellow. And let's say we want to find the tangent of 300 degrees. Tangent of 300 degrees. 300 degrees is right here. Okay, right here. And it is coterminal with negative 60 degrees. But this is 300 degrees right here. Okay. Draw the reference triangle here. Always draw the vertical straight from the point, the terminal point, to the x-axis. Okay. and recognize the triangle. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So the sides are 1/2 and root 3 over 2. 1/2 is positive, root 3 over 2 is negative, and of course the hypotenuse is 1. Tangent is opposite over hypotenuse, or sine over cosine, negative root 3 over 2 over 1/2. The 2's cancel, we get negative root 3. Okay, so that's kind of how we work it out. Now, when you get practiced with this, you should be able to do this actually even in your head without drawing a diagram. But draw the diagram for a while, because this is what when I calculate tangents and trig functions of these known angles, I picture this in my head. Okay. All right, let's go try another one here. What about the sine of 3 pi over 2? Sine of 3 pi over 2. So 3 pi over 2, the terminal ray is right here. Note that it is not a triangle, but it is on the boundary here between the quadrants. And by the way, we should identify the quadrants. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2 going counterclockwise, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Now that we understand that positive angles go in the counterclockwise direction, it should make more sense why these are numbered the way they are. Okay, this is on on the boundary between, and so simply the height of the triangle is 1 and the width is 0. If you want to think of it as a triangle, as width 0. The sine is the height, right? And this is down, so sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative 1. Okay. You can also think of sine and cosine, sine being the y value of the coordinate of the terminal point, and cosine being the x value of the terminal point. By the way, at the same time, cosine of 3 pi over 2 is 0. Tangent, sine over cosine, is 1 over 0, undefined. And that's very important to recognize that tangent can be undefined. It has, when we get to graphing it, you're going to find it has some vertical asymptotes. Okay, let's try another. Let's go and do cosecant of 7 pi over 6. Cosecant 7 pi over 6. Well, we got to think of cosecant as a cofunction for what? And the way I remember it is if the cofunction has a co, then its cofunction does not. And if its cofunction don't got a co, its cofunction does got a co. So cosecant is 1 over sine of 7 pi over 6. Okay, so we think of it that way, rather than thinking of it as a hypotenuse over opposite. Think of it as a reciprocal of sine, and it'll make a lot more sense. So 7 pi over 6, I'm just going to sketch. I'm not going to pull out the tools here. All right, is right here. And then draw a vertical line from the terminal point. And this is a 30, 60, 90. This side is 1/2. This side is root 3 over 2. Left is negative, down is negative. Cosecant is 1 over sine. So sine is negative 1/2. So if you want, think of it as 1 over negative 1/2. Cosecant of 7 pi over 6 is negative 2, multiplied by the reciprocal. Okay, let's try one more here. And feel free at any time to pause this video. Go back to an example if you need to see it again. Okay, let's find the cotangent. Cotangent of 3 pi over 4. Cotangent of 3 pi over 4. Now, a couple of ways to remember this. You can think of it as 1 over tangent. I prefer to think of it as tangent being sine over cosine. As the reciprocal of that. Cosine 3 pi over 4, or over sine. So think of it as cosine over sine. Think of tangent as sine over cosine, and cotangent as cosine over sine. Okay? So think of it that way instead, and it'll make more sense. 3 pi over 4 is right here. Okay? And let's draw the terminal ray. Okay? This is one of our special triangles. It's a 45-45 right triangle. The sides are 1, root 2 over 2, and root 2 over 2. Left is negative, up is positive. So cotangent of 3 pi over 4 is cosine, that's the negative root 2 over 2, over the sine, root 2 over 2. This is anything over itself is 1, but negative over positive is negative. So this is negative 1. So cotangent is negative 1. Okay? So hopefully that helps. Feel free, of course, to book a live lesson if you want more practice or you want help going over this material with me.